we're going to jump into Final Fantasy 13-2 here. On screen, we see two of our main characters. This is Noel, somebody who's brand new to the series, and Sarah, who appeared in Final Fantasy 13 but not playable. She's Lightning's younger sister. At this point in the game, we're searching for Lightning. She's gone missing. So we're going to jump into this location. We're going to get into a battle in just a minute, but first I can show you that character behind Sarah is called a Moogle. Long-term fans might recognize it. Moogles had a brief appearance in 13, but they're back in full for 13-2, we're happy to say. You'll also notice that in just a moment, the Moogle's multi-talented. He serves a variety of functions. One of them is to activate some items and objects in the scenery and in the environment. Another one is he serves as Sarah's weaponry. So we're going to get to a battle real quick with this giant hand that appeared and animated. And here we go. We're going to see the Moogle starting to help out in just a moment. Now, Noel's a melee fighter. You can see those two swords he carries. He can combine them to create one. You'll see he does a variety of melee attacks. We're going to get into battle in just a moment. And here you see Sarah's weaponry. That Moogle turns into a bow or a sword depending on her distance to the enemy. And with that, we're going to jump into battle. First thing a player who's familiar with Final Fantasy 13 is going to notice is that the paradigm system does return intact. You can see that by pressing L1 here on PlayStation, we're able to shift our paradigms. And just like in 13, we can either select our attacks on our own, or we can choose, based on the paradigm that's set, we can choose auto battle. That'll pick attacks for us. So we're just going to keep applying damage to this giant hand here. It's called Paradox Alpha. It's kind of mysterious at this point in the game what's going on. And what's going to happen here is this is our first cinematic action sequence. So you'll see these button prompts come up on screen, and this is basically a quick time event. If we complete it successfully, we get some advantage in combat. In this case, we block the enemy's attack, and you can see we have some buffs applied to our character. In this case, it's Brave for Noel and Faith for Sarah. That'll increase their attack power, their magic attack power. If we had failed that quick time event, it wouldn't necessarily be game over. We're not going to take the player out of battle, but we would take some damage in that case. And these cinematic action cutscenes have really been added to try and change the pace of battle a little bit more. Final Fantasy's always jump between real time and cutscene, and the team in Japan's just trying to go a little further in really incorporating cinematics in every aspect of the game. So again, we're into another cutscene here. You'll see them interspersed throughout major battles like this one. And in this case, by completing the event, we did a tremendous amount of damage there. That big, nice yellow critical damage. And we got him. So again, jumping right back and forth between in-game battle and cinematics, you can see that we're seamlessly transitioning into another kind of miniature cinematic here. We're going to get some help from these mysterious ships above. In the normal game, this would be a little bit better explained. This portion of the game is still early, but not necessarily the very beginning of the game. So there's some backstory here that we're skipping through just to get you guys to the gameplay itself. But you can see these ships coming in to help us out. And the cinematic action prompt comes up again to indicate that we have a quick time event to take care of. At this point at E3, there's not a whole lot that we're revealing about, or sorry, at Comic-Con, there's not a whole lot to reveal. This is the same content from E3, and really at this point it's just telling people that we're searching for Lightning. Noel and Sarah have kind of encountered one another in an unusual circumstance. Noel kind of swoops in out of nowhere and saves Sarah. You can see some of that through the trailers we've been running so far, but we're looking forward to revealing more about the story later on. It gets pretty complex. So we're going to skip through some event scenes here just for the purpose of the demo. What would have happened is that enemy is actually called Atlas. He's kind of reanimated from a different time period. So there's almost a time traveling or a dimension traveling aspect to the game. And we're now dropped into this location here, almost like a town. And our goal here is to search out and find Atlas. So I can bring up the minimap for a minute and show you our objective in yellow, kind of up above. That's where we're headed. Along the way, though, one of the things that's drastically different from 13 is that the maps are much more complex. Where 13 really drove you along a very specific path, the intent with 13.2 is to create more of an open environment, give the player more opportunities for exploration. So I'm just going to show you this environment for a moment. There's NPCs everywhere that we can talk to. Anybody with a speech bubble we can interact with. But for the sake of getting things moving, we're just going to run up these stairs towards where Atlas is. And you can see we have opportunities to check out what's going on, find hidden treasure chests. One other thing you'll see is that it's raining here. We're going to have some returning locations. This place is called Brescia. It did appear in Final Fantasy 13, but in a very different look. We're not really reusing these assets. It's just a matter of, obviously, the same locations in the game world are going to return. And one thing to help make them even feel more different is that we're adding weather effects like rain in this case. So I'm just going to show you one more feature here. This is called the Mog Clock. This is the way that you enter battle in Final Fantasy 13-2. It's brand new. This clock will appear on screen, and if we can attack an enemy while it's showing green, we're going to get a great result. In this case, that means a preemptive strike. So that gives us an advantage in battle now. We can move quickly. All enemies are staggered. So we're going to have a huge advantage here. Breeze through these guys very quickly. And what happened here is this crystal that appeared indicates that we've captured these monsters and added them to our party. So you'll see in this next screen that we now have Flambanero and Warhorn. They'll fight alongside us. And in the next battle, you'll see that they'll fill that third party slot that was empty up until now. As we change paradigms, we'll change between the monster that's active, and so the player can constantly shift between these monsters in battle. That's pretty much the summary of what we're showing here, but we'll have trailers running throughout the rest of the campaign. The game's launching in January 2012, and we hope to show a lot more in the near future.